In this video, I want to share you everything you want to know as an Airbnb host or potentially someone who's looking to get into Airbnb business. Firstly, let me show you some of the clips of clients.
I was a bit skeptical. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna work.
Introduce you to them. What kind of background do they come from? It might be something like yourself who's about to start short-term renter business. I've got some clients within this process I've gone through where the management companies let them down and about to give up their unit, came to us. We've rebuild their business.
Until you showed me all those screens the other day of the insights and bits and pieces, I didn't really even know they were there.
I've got clients, who's got over 100 properties, and I've done a session with their, head of sales, head of marketing, and the business owner themselves. So guys, look, welcome to another Grow Your BnB video. I'm so excited to share you some of the real-time sessions that I've had with all this, fascinating clients, entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are just about to start business, people have got no business background and got themselves into Airbnb arbitrage purely because they love property. They might have no knowledge about short-term rental. They might not have knowledge about running a business. They might not have even thought about hiring people, but these are the people who have now come in, worked with us, and eventually I can assure you that there's two things for me here. In this video, I want to show you why my passion for this industry in terms of I want to sit in 20 years later and want to sit down and go, actually watch my channel and go, what an impact we've made in the industry. I can sit down today and, every time I speak to my team, my account managers, people that work in my client account, my team, we always sit down and go, wow, we've always achieved something different for all the clients. And more importantly, if you're watching this video, look, everyone starts business, short-term renter business, purely based on them knowing how to find a property. Now that is where you've gone wrong, because what you don't realize is the guests, the clients, they're the one who's going to pay you the money, not how you secure property. So guys, look, welcome to another Grow Your BnB video, and I will show you some of the real-time client faces, client interviews, client sessions that I've gone through, and hopefully share you their story and what we've done with them. At the moment, what's directing your pricing, and who does that in the business at the moment?
So before we take on a deal, I stack it up. So yeah, pretty much me, and then I think in terms of who sort of changed the pricing and stuff, I think it's either Serena or Katie. But the initial direction in terms of what we can't go lower than, that comes from myself.
Okay, fine. So look, this is what my advice to you guys is then. Look, nightly rates, it's going to attract your nightly customers, which is like your 1 or 3 nights booking, right? The idea behind today's session was we need to start getting long-term bookings. So what I call this is profit pricing. What profit pricing is basically this. I just want to know how much profit you want to make per unit, and then you price it up that way. Because look, your long-term customer ain't going to call you and ask you what your nightly rate is. They don't want to know what your nightly rate is. They're only going to ask you, what are you going to charge them for a month? Right, so client number 1, Troy and his team, fantastic entrepreneur. I mean, the team itself as well, very on it. They, working with them was just a blessing because I got to not only understand his business, but also understand how quickly he had to scale this monster for business for himself and, management for the clients. One of the biggest projects we were working with him was a block of 14 in a specific location, and you've probably seen there, right? So one tip I wanted to give you in this session that I've just had, if you're looking to start your operation of short-term rental businesses, I do not care about your nightly rates, because over the 3, 4, 5 years we've worked in short-term rental, we've seen, people charging, going, oh Piers, I charge 150 because everyone charges 150. But then when we look at their market due diligence, all of a sudden everyone's calendar's empty and they're only booked for 3, 4 nights. So for me, yes, you can charge 150, but you're not fully booked. So to go about that, we, in our sessions, what we do is called profit pricing. We've got profit pricing tracker. I show clients exactly how to utilize it. Now, look, there's no right or wrong on nightly rates. If you want to be in a position where you want a vacation rental, a location, and your property attracts those leisure guests coming in a high nightly rate. It's entirely up to you. But then there will be months when the seasons will go down. You need to understand your profit. At the end of the day, once you've done a whole season of your, let's say the off season and the main season in one of your unit, you'll start to understand the trend. And that is one of the things I covered. I was very much excited to work with them for nearly 8 weeks, stripping their brand down, rebuilding their brand. But you can see why I wanted to share you, again, going back into, Troy and his team, fantastic, taking his time, bringing his team in this call, understanding what we did. As much as I wanted to go through every little thing, they had their own system in place, which also allowed me to understand how quickly and efficiently they're running this business and scaling their business. And today they're probably sitting around 30 units, but that's something that I want to share. And I hope you learned that profit pricing, or understanding your pricing, is very, very important in your short-term rental business.
I mean, being realistic and pragmatic. If someone said to me, Martin, look, you've got 3 week or let's say 1 month clients, and then I can send my cleaners in, let's say every Monday, everybody's flat gets turned over once a week. So I know that I've got, Monday is cleaning day and I've got 1 monthly clients.
Yeah.
Piers, I only have a headache 1 day a week then.
I know. Your management would go we can already talk about your management already gone down. Like, I'm sure your housekeeping teams isn't that pleased by just
yeah.
Because they would have got a lot more cleans before, wouldn't they?
They would do it. I mean, it's a husband and wife team, and they've genuinely got my back, and they understand.
So client number 2, fantastic individual, really switched on, very busy individual to running, working in a corporate job while maintaining his portfolio, and fantastic way of us working together, because Martin was, for him, he had a block of apartment. Not only we obviously in our session we talk about a lot of branding strategies and stuff, but in this case I wanted to talk to you about housekeeping team and your cleaners, because you think about this, right? When you've got a block of 8, all of a sudden if you're doing 3 nights minimum booking, which what Martin was doing, times by 3 times 8, so 3 nights minimum booking, 8 apartments, your housekeeping team would be taking a lot of revenue out from your profit or your net margin, because you've got to pay them for turnovers and stuff. Now, this is why sometimes having that high nightly rate and allowing yourself to get as many as customers, paying you a high nightly rate, could at the end of the month still make you exactly the same profit, because you are paying £400 on the cleans, right? So you've got to find out the right balance between understanding your occupancy rate and your housekeeping team cost, and what is going to be your net profit at the end of the month. But you know what a fantastic session I had with Martin at the end of handover. He had numbers of units sitting on long-term booking. We went through the ups and downs, but what an amazing brand we built for Martin. So something that I want to touch base, if you're looking to obviously start your short-term rental business, is really understand your cleaners and your housekeeping team and their costs. Get it all started, and yeah, I look forward to working with you now. Really.
Same with you, Piers, and thank you very much. Like in the morning when you said I'll see where we can go with this, and I was a bit skeptical. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know how it's gonna work, but let's see.
I know. Look, I'll tell you what. I have said a lot of no's this month to a lot of people. So my third client, Mahfouz and Ridwan, honestly, these guys, 2 young people. You probably have seen their client interview with me. So when we first worked together, it was quite fascinating. You've probably seen in that video. So they launched a property in one of the biggest cities in the UK. Sadly, we had a pre-call and I explained them about, look, the 7 nights minimum booking, how strategy helps different, literally different opportunities around getting long-term booking. Now, what they did was they worked with a management company, and the management company and them decided to launch a property and effectively messed up a bit of calendar with those 2-3 nights booking, and sat with empty calendar, right? So the problem I find with a lot of operators, and you can see in that video, he mentions that actually when they came back, I was really in doubt to take them as a client. And we're in a position at the moment, we only read the right property. We only work with the right property. We know we take time to understand, discovery call with me. If you imagine, sometimes I take time to go back to my account managers, my team, to sit down and understand everything. So I think one of the things you will learn from, again, as an Airbnb owner, is understand what messy calendars can potentially do to your business, and sometimes why yourself you rule out from getting, making good profit. Because if you've got that 2-3 nights booking in middle of the month because you've got a messy calendar, you're not going to be found on long-term booking. So what an exciting journey. Look, I've got a client interview with them, had a successful working relationship with them straight after that. We've launched 2 more units, and as of today, we're actually launching their 4th unit. They keep coming back working with us because they love how we launch property. While they focus on setting up, we come in as their marketing team for a short space of time and achieve those results. So guys, something to be very aware of is messy calendars in Google Images without people knowing your brand.
Okay.
Now that's what I call organic business, because these people will search for service accommodation in Birmingham. Somehow they're going to see Denmark, and then somehow they will keep seeing Denmark, and eventually what's going to happen is these people will remember you as a brand. Right? So this is the problem in our industry. As you know, people list on Airbnb-booking.com, right? And they say, oh, I've listed on Airbnb-booking.com. So my 4th client, Lena. Now, exciting journey today. Well, literally about this time last year was the first time ever we got engaged. She didn't have the unit. She booked a call with me. Basically wanted to understand how we worked or how we helped operators all over the world, and yeah, effectively we connected, we get to understand each other. I got to understand what kind of properties he was working on, whereas she got to understand what kind of service. She thought we did mentorship, and I said, look, we don't offer mentorship, but when you get your first unit, please come back, and obviously GrowYourBnb will help you launch that property. Now in this case, as you can see from the video, I consistently talk. That is my first, what I call an audit call with one of our clients. So when they, if you come and work with us, the first thing we do is an audit call. And in that call, I explain why branding is so important, why people at the moment in our short-term rental industry, people only think about, oh yeah, I've got this stunning looking property. We've spent £10,000 on setting up this 4-bed, lovely looking property. But what they forget is actually, your end user not only wants to see your property, but if you want to increase your direct booking, increase your brand awareness, you've got to understand what an advertising strategy is, what a marketing strategy is, what a branding strategy is, and also you've got to think about long term. So one of the tip I wanted to share you with Lena, and obviously my session with her, they're flying off at the moment. I think as of today, they're on their 5th unit as well. So congratulations to her and her team. And you know what? I think sitting here talking about some of this client we worked last year are smashing it, are growing heavily, and really understanding how to get guests, how to get quality profit in their property makes us really worthwhile working for them. So guys, I hope you understand building a brand is very much important. Right, so what I really want to know is
Sorry, can I just ask a question before we move on? You just said £1,000, but then if you add the OTA money, then we're way up the ballpark. So what happens?
That's fine. Look, when I look at, I'm quite confident around £1,000.
Yep. Oh, I love that. Happy days.
But if I feel like you're not getting that, then I will then go, well, maybe we'll look at, or Gavin will look at £800, right? But the algorithm of the 18% will still be there. Look, the idea is to pass over that to the client anyway. You're not paying for it. That 18% needs to be put in and passed over to the guest anyway. But I need to know those figures on top of my head. Then once I know that, then I can work a system. Now my 5th client, you can see from that video, actually is a directorship of 3 different individual coming together, building this monster for business in one of the most best location in the UK. And you know what? The fascinating thing, if you've probably seen from like the video that we're talking about, like a lot of time people forget, and again, one of the tips I want to share in this video was people need to understand you will have off season, right? Potentially off season in any business, right? And you need to also understand you need to have marketing, strategy or an advertising strategy over that period of time. Especially a lot of time when people do one thing again and again, especially in Airbnb and Booking.com, they kind of feel like, oh, it's actually working, so I don't have to do anything else. So one of the things they're one of our bigger clients. We're literally about to do handover. I mean, what a fantastic journey we've had, especially around what we talked about in that video, profit pricing. In quite a month, you need to sometimes understand half your portfolio. We're talking this clients have got over 20 properties. So when it goes to quite a month, if half your portfolio doesn't perform, all of a sudden you are now looking at either break even or even loss, because you're taking that other 10 properties that's making you money, covering all the costs, especially if you're doing management for a client, right? If you're managing other people's property for a percentage of fee. And this is where I got to come in and work with them, heavily enjoyed the process, heavily enjoyed creating system in their business. Look, something I'm quite proud about when I work with GrowYourBnB client. We're there to build their brand, but if I feel like there's a gap in their system, I physically create something for them and actually give it to them, right? I.e., we kind of train their sales team on how to get direct booking conversion. They're a lot more better, but they can effectively do amazing. But you know what? It's a part of progression. We also created a direct booking system for them, a follow-up system. So guys, again, something that I wanted to share in that video was 3 different directors coming together, making a decision to invest in branding. But more importantly, I think the pure reason they wanted to work with us was to understand the off-season marketing and advertising strategy, how you can do it. So look, I'm just understanding at the moment that how much time do you actually spend on Airbnb and Booking.com backend?
With the other place?
Yeah, just in general, so that you have an understanding of when, how to.
Well, I'm always on looking at competitors' prices. I do that a lot.
That your own backend system.
Booking.com, not that often, because messages and everything I just reply to online. I go on now and again and look at the invoicing and bits and pieces, different and analytics that they have, but not that often, probably once a month.
Yeah, so my recommendation to you, I think what would be good is actually spend maybe 15 minutes a week on the back end of Airbnb.
Yeah.
I think
I've never really looked at it because we do the other one through a channel manager. We can't. Airbnb is the only one that is separate, so I don't really do a lot with the other one. So until you showed me all those screens the other day of the insights and bits and pieces, I didn't really even know they were there.
Now, client number 6, Nikki. What an incredible journey. So to give it a bit of background about Nikki, she obviously has been operating in a JV Airbnb with a partner in that specific location where they've been doing it for 2 years. And what I found fascinating was they've always been doing the same thing, Airbnb, Booking.com, just keep doing exactly what 90% of operators do. The main tip I wanted to give you is, look, in that video you will see why I said to her, how often do you actually go into Airbnb backend? And one of the tips I want to talk about is please make sure you understand Airbnb backend and insights, because once you understand that performance, you're going to think differently about what the market's saying and how you can approach the market, adapt to it, but also change the way you guys want to operate. So the difference, for Nikki, who owns that property, we've had massive success. I think she's only not been booked for 2 nights out of 3 months, and had amazing direct booking, long-term booking, thinking profit, and we've had massive success with Nikki. And do you know what? Again, for somebody who's already been in the industry, done that again and again, they've come and worked with us, bought a new property, and when clearly this time I actually want to work with peers and find out exactly how to attract those long-term booking, how to build a brand. And we did that, and she was amazed. She was like, Piers, actually, having worked in short-term rental properties before, no idea. Right now, they're doing amazing just by changing that strategy, just by understanding. She goes holiday quite often, don't have time to manage it all the time, and today she can just sit down and go, actually, we've got a monthly booking, X amount of profit at the end of the month. So guys, again, please make sure you understand the Airbnb and Booking.com backend system.
About that, do you think it would be beneficial to do that, or keep it totally?
It's entirely up to you, to be honest. I think what would be good is, obviously, because it's a short let part, you as a business, you already have an existing to your letting industry, right? So it'll be quite nice that you've already got traffic that comes into your account anyway. So by adding a short let part in it makes it a lot more trustable, professional, right? Whereas, again, having said that, if you have a new website, it could also allow you to then start something fresh, but then again, you're investing in a website,
I think that makes sense. Do you know what? It might make sense to actually do that, then add the tab in, because we're having a new website built at the moment.
Oh, right. Brilliant. Now, wow, let's talk about letting agents being creative. Now, this is something that I was so excited about working with Neil. You could see from that video, we're talking about, again, that was an audit session I was doing with Neil, and we were talking about how do we go about building a brand that already exists, right? They've owned that letting agent for years. So now they've done, the standard letting for a percent of the management fee. They got into rent to rent, and as a letting agent, they then also got into rent to rent HMOs. But in this case, it was their first unit. Now, when Neil and I talked about it, we wanted to turn a part of his service into offering a short-term rental agency, right? Because he's got landlord coming in all the time, giving him property to rent. Now, having that process with me, and just to give you a heads up, we've had massive success. He's just landed 62 nights booking from what I remember. I'll put a screenshot, something like that, for nearly £6,000, and that was his second booking. His first booking, believe it or not, because he's already got a brand and we helped him obviously optimize it for short-term rental, he actually got his first booking as direct, which was amazing for somebody who's never done a short-term renter business. His first booking was a direct booking. So yeah, again, for us, this is a daily routine. For my client Neil, it was like, wow, I've never even thought this could be possible. So at this moment in time, he's launched his property, is now nearly booked till end of the year. What a journey for us. Specifically, we wanted to sit down with Neil, and my journey with him was, we are now going to create a short-term rental agency for you because you already own a letting agent, right? And he's much more confident. And one of the things I think, the tip I want to share in this process for you as an Airbnb owner is, you've always got to become a learner and understand opportunities that's going to come in your business. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me working with Neil. Because I've spoken to a few people before who's worked with me, and they're like, oh, Piers, I've done ads before in this platform. And I'm like, have you got any bookings? No. It's purely because how you write the description and the copy in this platforms make a massive difference. So let's firstly talk about client avatar. Who do you think at the moment is your direct booking customer avatar? Over the years you've worked in your industry, who do you think are your ideal customer avatars?
Like, what is the attraction? Why they're booking with me?
So the ideal avatar is like, your property, who does it fit perfect for long-term or direct?
I'd say contractors, people working in the area, a group of people.
Contractors, last group people, yeah, okay.
Because I mainly have houses, 3-4 bed houses.
Yeah.
That sleeps 5-6 guys.
For sure. Now, what do you think they would make you come directly as a brand? Because previously, you still get Monday to Friday bookings from your OTAs, right?
Yeah.
That's been your generals. But why do you think they would prefer to come directly?
So they could maybe get a better rate with me directly, take some more money home.
Yeah, potentially better rates. Yeah, so one needs better rates. Why do you think, if you think about it this way, if contractors not booking you for the first time, are they? Now, this client of mine, I can tell you numbers of things that went wrong. If you look at that video, you can see is, obviously you'll probably not be able to see it because we blur the face, but you can see the energy of the client isn't that much on that call. He was second week into our process of building his brand, and for somebody who's been in the business 2 years, has 5 property, has been doing the same thing again and again. He's always been going Monday to Friday, contractors, weekends were free. He was dropping his price down to make sure you get someone for the weekend, and the same process Monday to Friday from Booking.com or Airbnb. Potentially sometimes would get, but proactively he would never understand. And one of the things I want to give you a tip on this process was, if you look at what I talked about him on my second strategy call was purely understanding the guest and their direct booking behaviors. Like, this is one of the things I get really frustrated when a new operator go and actually do a mentorship, learn about, rental arbitrage, but end up learning how to secure Remember, guys, they're not going to pay those bills. What's going to pay your bill is that guest. So you need to understand your guest booking behaviors. You need to understand what your guests are actually doing. So on my second strategy call, I sat down with him, and today I want to show you a short clip where we've landed him one big company who's booked all his property for nearly 3 months, and he has now got 100% occupancy rate from one big company. Doesn't have to do anything. His cleaners are going in every 2 weeks to make sure the bi-weekly cleans are being done. His property is sat in 100% occupancy rate, and more importantly, I'm going to show you a screenshot of what he mentioned, which is really touching to me. He mentioned that over the years he's created this obviously debt, personal debt, which he had to pay off. And by this process, he's so close to just clear it off in 2-3 months because of the profit he's making on his property. So guys, again, what a fascinating journey for someone who's been in the industry 2 years already, has been watching me work throughout different clients all over the world, and decided to invest on his brand, and the outcome was just incredible. Because you're taking 5 units at a time, is there a point you have planned to hire a VA?
It's kind of on my never-ending list, but not for the moment, unless I feel that it's necessary.
No, and also,
do you
know what? It's fair to say at this moment in time, you also want to know the ins and outs and the nuts and bolts about the business, because then when you train someone, I know, this is what. So look, that is pretty much right. Now, if you are someone who's an entrepreneur who is looking to grow your business as quickly as possible, this could be your side hustle, or you're going to go in this full time. If you're working, if you're in university, look, I've dealt with every single potential client out there who's started short-term rental business. Now, a client of mine, Natalie, you can see the conversation I had with her was hiring a team member. Now, bearing in mind, we were in the audit process. I said, when are you going to hire a team member? Was purely because she's launching 5 properties straight away. She works full time. Now she's got 5 properties being launched. So you can imagine someone who's got zero knowledge about operation side of the short-term rental and Airbnb business, has now got to perform on 5 properties straight away. Now, one of the things people love about GrowYourBnb is we've got the experience to launch. We've got the experience to understand how to, calendar management. I mean, when we did 5 properties launch, one of the biggest thing we learned about block launches, we've done it before with clients over 30 units, was purely to sit down and break it down into different guest behaviors and what that listing is going to attract them. But in this conversation, what a fascinating journey for my client, launching 5 properties, so 0 to 5 in 4 weeks. But more importantly, I wanted to educate around hiring a team. Look, one of the reasons we do so well is I've got a very successful team. We've got a team of 15. Everyone's got their own position and delivery for our clients, and more importantly, we enjoy what we do as a company, and the culture that we've created for GrowYourBnb. So guys, again, something you as an Airbnb host you should understand is when to hire and what kind of things you need to hire. In this case, look, Natalie, for me, I said you need to understand that you've got to understand the process, the system, the pretty much what we've offered her in terms of the training and actually doing things for her, so then she can go and then hire and actually replace herself to do some of the tasks that can be just outsourced to a team. So guys, I hope you understand that hiring a team member is a crucial part of growth of your business. Not hire customers. We rather have some system in place that's going to allow you to just not worry about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm doing is I'm writing something for you and probably just do a little bit of training that you can send it either to one of your team, or if I was you, I think, James, at this moment, I would definitely hire somebody who's for 2 jobs. One, they can contact guests once they've checked in, and they are just around your customer experience, right? Because a lot of time people give you bad reviews, that's because they've already checked out.
Yeah.
You can't do much about it. So one during the stay and the other one after this stay, which you guys are already doing. Even the after this stay one, there's a certain way to deal with it. And I'd love you to implement that. So I'm going to create that together for you guys. Who would you like me to speak to first to implement this?
Stephen, I think we need to work. We need to find out exactly what Clyde's doing already.
He's not doing that, so yeah.
And I think we probably do need to. I was looking at our number of guest managers, which is like 10 now or 12 or something. And I think once we go to uplisting, because they're not going to have to do that whole confirm your booking crap.
Now, my last client on this video, I hope you are enjoying how I'm trying to give you some of the tips, but also how I work with clients, right? You can imagine some of the things I'm mentioning. We as GrowYourBnb, we are effectively marketing, advertising and branding company for short-term rental property owners. In this case, right, my client James, he's got over 60 staff with over 150 properties across 2 different countries. We were very fortunate to work with pretty much both the country, but also importantly with the main directors, as you can see in that video, but also his team member, right? And one of the things I wanted to talk about as a Airbnb host that you need to understand is delivering exceptional customer experience. One of the reasons why a lot of operators scale but then fail quickly is they quickly forget that customer experience is such a key part of running a hospitality business. You're no longer a service accommodation or an Airbnb business owner. You are effectively a large business because, once you're getting into 20, 30, in this case, clients got over 100 property. I was making sure, when I'm going into accounts like that daily on Airbnb, looking at, over 100 listings, I'm going into messages, understanding what kind of guests are booking. I effectively find sometimes that some of the guests are, experience are not into point because my clients are so focused on scaling, or my clients so focused on the growth of the business, they forget that customer experience is like, hiring somebody to dedicate to customer experience is key. And one of the things I was fortunate about in this process was, again, I can go into calls for larger client and go, hey, you've got a gap in the business, you're missing this opportunity. Your customer, after checking, are not getting enough priority, right? They're booked with you, they've trusted your brand, but once they've actually stayed or checked in, all of a sudden you're not actually giving the experience, and then they've checked out. By the time they've checked out, they've already had a bad experience or not as good experience, which means you're only going to get a bad review. Whereas if you have a customer experience manager, within that process, they're going to look after every single guest that's staying with us. Look, in that scale, you've got to look after your guests. So guys, I hope you understand that, look, it's a hospitality business, and you've got to understand you've got to deliver exceptional customer experience. Guys, thank you so much for watching another GrowYourBnb video. I'm sure you've enjoyed it, learned from it. Obviously, you've heard clients working with us, and some of the journey we're talking from end of 2020, some of those clients to like today, right, till date. And we're constantly working with different sort of clients. We've pretty much gone through every single potential scenario that you're potentially going to go through in your Airbnb and short-term rental business. Now, look, if you like to work with us, I'm going to leave a link down below. There's no harm on booking a call. It doesn't matter what country you are. We've got clients booking calls from Africa, US, a lot of part in Europe, Australia, and there's non-stop people now reaching out to us, understanding what we do, growing your brand, because every business, every short-term rental business needs a brand, needs something that people can see, people can like, trust, to be able to get you those direct bookings. So guys, make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share, and we will be back with another video soon.